Shalom, shalom, peace, love, Yasharala. I love you guys, you know that, right? You know, anybody that tune in, hear what this guy over here has to say, love you guys for that, appreciate all of y'all, for real. And hopefully, you guys are exalting the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Well, I've been having such a great, beautiful night. I just couldn't just end it off, just go to sleep and, wake up and do it again tomorrow. Nah, I want to go over something and just, bring some form of enlightenment to you guys. And what I want to go over is this Micah 7, just strictly verse 14 through 15. So right here it says her trust in a higher, right? Her is, of course, is Zion or Zion, or, you know, uh, or how you pronounce it, like Tajawan. I think that's how you say it in the paleo. Hey, I'm working on it, y'all. But I really want to go over verse 15, but we're going to start at verse 14. Feed thy people with thy rod, the flock of thine heritage, which dwell solitarily in the wood, in the midst of Carmel. Let them feed in the Bashan and Gilead, as in the days of old. Now, right here, verse 15, is going to give a brief description of events that take place before we leave this land of bondage. Before we really just get up and flee, or before Ahia just comes and deliver us. For he's our great Redeemer. Verse 15 reads, according to the days of thy coming out of the land of Egypt, will I show unto him, or show you, marvelous things. What does that mean? Now, as our ancestors or forefathers were coming out of the land of old Egypt, Ahia gave them plagues, right? There were events, certain things had to take place. Ahia allowed, Masha and our forefathers witness what Ahia was doing unto Pharaoh and unto Mizraim or Egypt, to show the difference between them and us. So our forefathers witness and watch Ahia do things right next to them, and none of them got touched, right? Like the plagues were so close, but none of the Yasharites got touched. At least none of the ones that were obeying the voice of Ahia's servant at the time, Masha, right? So today's a little different because we are up under the curses. And when you go into Jeremiah and you go into, is that chapter 9? I believe it's Jeremiah. No, I'm sorry. Jeremiah chapter 30. You start at verse 9. That's why I start at verse 9, and then I read on down. Pardon me. But Jeremiah chapter 30, and you read all the way to the end, it's going to come about where it says that, you know what? I can just go to it. Why be lazy? Right? I'm right here. Okay. Pardon me, I'm taking this tea. My wifey got me drinking this tea that's so concoctionated. That's a new word. Everything be coming up, so pardon me, man. Just everything that needs to come up comes up. So when you go to Jeremiah chapter 30, right? And what I mean by these things are a little bit different on how we are viewing what Ahia is doing to the nations right now, from the time that Masha and our forefathers were viewing what he was doing to Pharaoh. It's different because of this. Verse 11. For I am with thee, saith Ahiah, to save thee. Though I make a full end of all nations where I have scattered you. But then Ahiah says, but yet I will not make a full end of you, but I will correct you in measure, and I will not leave you altogether unpunished. So that's the difference between what we are witnessing before Ahiah is doing to these nations today and what our forefathers was witnessing, because none of them got touched. They witnessed the difference between them and the Egyptians. Like Ahiah said, see how I make difference between you and thee. So none of our forefathers got touched, and they witnessed all the plagues, seen everything, right? But the plagues that's going on now, like, the COVID, the vaccinations, Ebola, this all this stuff over the years, but especially things that has, you know, um, arise and has been in continuance as far as like this COVID, we are witnessing this plague, you know, um, it's hitting us. It's hitting the the true Ibri or Hebrew Yisraelite or Israelite community. Our people are falling by because we are still under the curse. And the highest says that even though why he is, getting rid of the other nations, he's punishing them. He's going to make a full end of them, but he's not going to make a full end of us. So a lot of us will still get, the the bad end of the stick, right? Bad end of the bargain. Some of us will perish from these plagues because, like Ahia says, I'm going to correct thee in measure. So some of us will get severely sick and not die. Some of us will get very sick and die. Some of us will still suffer what the curses bring. Just go ahead and read them if you haven't read them before. This is your first time hearing the video or hearing anything about this. That's Leviticus chapter 26. Start there first. And then you go into Deuteronomy chapter 28. And you can start from 1 through 15. That is the blessings, that took place before we went into captivity. And then 15 through 68 is what took place once the light started to go out, from, the people of Yasharallah, and Malachi chapter 3 speaks about that. I believe it starts at verse 16 through 18. It talks about, the light that was going out, pretty much the light of Ahiah, his way, his righteousness, his law, statutes, and ordinances. For the curse was covering, his people, and we pretty much was living that out. So it's a little different, because we are most definitely being punished and we are most definitely perishing. So when you go back to Micah 7, maybe later, and you go back to 15, and then it says, according to the days of thy coming out of the land of Mizraim, or Egypt, or bondage, will I show unto him, or you, marvelous things the nations shall see and be confounded at all their might, So that's pretty much what's taking place. And they shall lay their hand upon their mouth, their ears shall be deaf, they shall lick the dust like a serpent. They shall move out of their holes like worms of the earth. They shall be afraid of Ahiah, our power, and fear because of us, right? Because Ahiah is, like he said in verse 18, who is a power like unto us that pardon iniquity. Ahiah is pardoning the remnant's iniquity and fulfilling that great word that he said that he would deliver and redeem us and make this small clan, this weak, small unit of people into a mighty, strong nation who is of meek and contrite of character, right? That's what Ahaya loves, someone who's contrite and very meek. So that's the difference between old Egypt captivity and this modern day Egypt captivity. For this captivity is not just like Egypt. It's a mixture between Sodom and Gomorrah. We see with all the LGBT things going on, and how quickly that just came the thing. And we see how this is also put together in old Babylon. This is why this is called the daughter of Babylon. You can read about that in Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 51. I also have videos on that if you want to check it out. And it's also created in the image of old Egypt, right? So this is why you have the Babylonian idols, that we still praise here, Bel, Baal. Um, think I heard somebody trying to come in. Hopefully not. Well, okay. I guess I can continue. But that's why you have the old, like the Bel and Baal Babylonian old idols, and you have the JCs, the Christs, that's the ancient Egyptian idols, Osiris, Ra, you know, Horus, and also what I mentioned, Babylon, and then with the gay stuff with Sodom and Gomorrah. So modern day America, you know, is a combination of the three: Babylon, Old Babylon, Sodom and Gomorrah, and Old Egypt. But like verse 18 is saying, I is pardon. He's pardoning the iniquity of this remnant who is of meek character and contrite. And he's bringing it into the nations, you know. So verse 15 gives you an idea of how this thing will take place through events. And oh yeah, see, now they're here now. So I'm gonna cut this video short and I'll do a part two.